So we have talked about the moon a lot, and we talked about how the moon is in the nighttime and the daytime sky sometimes. And we also know that the moon is a large sphere, which is just a 3D circle, and it's a ball and a rock, and it does not give off its own light. And we know that we can see the moon through a telescope, which it makes it look a little closer to us. But we're going to talk about the different phases of the moon. So when you look up into the sky at the nighttime, does the moon look the same every time you look up? Let's think about that. Sometimes I look up and it might look nice and round. But some other times, what does it look like? Can you show me with your hands or your body sometimes what it looks like? So go ahead and show whoever's around you. It's just you and I. It's okay. You can be making your shapes. So sometimes it's full, but sometimes, I see. Some of us might just be like, we don't see it at all sometimes. Right. We also know that it can be, it can look, let's go like this. It can look kind of like a banana shape, like a crescent moon. We talked about, we can see that, but our moon changes. It goes through phases. So I want you to turn to page 308 and 309 in your science book. So I'll give you a little bit more time. And if you need to pause the video so that you can get to that page 308, 309, we have the heading, that's right, we have a heading of just a phase. Just a phase. And what you're going to notice, and what I want you to come away with this, is that our phases of our moon have a repeating pattern. Remember, we did this last 2 weeks ago. So when we have a repeating pattern, we have that special thing that they don't have in a growing pattern. What is it? Say it out loud. Right, that core. Because we have the same thing repeats all the time. That's so special about our repeating pattern. So as I read through this, I want you to think about what would be the repeating, or what would be the core of our repeating pattern in our phases of our moon. All right, so I want you to follow along as I am reading. Just a phase, that's our heading. So this tells me as a reader that I'm going to learn about phases. Now it is night. You may see stars. You may see the moon. The moon is a huge ball of rock. It does not give off its own light. The moon reflects light from the sun. Okay, so yes or no, the moon does not give off its own light. Is that true or false? No, it does not give off its own light. What do we think? That is a true statement. True statement. It says it does not give off its own light, but it does reflect light from the sun. All right, let's keep going. The moon moves across the sky. So our moon does move across the sky. So just like our Earth, it looks like our sun is moving, but it's not. It's just because the Earth is moving. Our moon moves across the sky. Its shape seems to change. The phases, a key word. Remember, we can use that G word to help us. It's in the back of the book. Write the glossary to find out this definition. But we can also keep reading, and maybe it will define this for us. So the phases, or shapes you see, okay, there we go, or shapes we see, change as the moon moves. The changes follow a repeating pattern. It lasts about a month. All right, Miss Sparks is going to show us down here. This says new moon, so you don't see the moon at all. First quarter moon, so you only see a quarter of the moon. And why are we just saying a quarter? Why are we just saying that is a quarter? Well, we got to use our fraction knowledge. Right, so we also have to remember that the moon has another side that we don't see. So that's why it's a quarter. It looks like a half, but it's not. It's a quarter of our moon. Then we have our full moon, and then we have our third quarter moon. We're using our ordinal positions too. First and then third. They look a little different. All right, I want you to think about the repeating pattern in our core. If you had to circle the core of our repeating pattern for our phases of the moon, what would you circle? What would you circle? What would you circle? So some of you maybe said we circle these two. Maybe you said these two. But remember, this is a repeating pattern and it lasts about a month. So this is our whole repeating pattern. So if I asked you, which we will be circling our repeating pattern or our core, if we had to circle our core, we would do all 4 of these because after the 3rd quarter moon, what comes next? After the 3rd quarter moon, what comes next? Let's extend this pattern. Let's add on to it. Right, our new moon would be there because that's the next part of our repeating pattern. So I want you to circle the core of this repeating pattern. So Miss Sparks is going to do that too. Oops, she's trying to use a marker that you're going to see. It's hard to see in the back. So remember, we would circle the whole thing. The new moon, the 1st quarter moon, the full moon, and the 3rd quarter moon. So I don't know if you can see that, but that is what you would circle. All 4 of them. All 4 of them. So I'll give you a couple seconds to finish up that. But that's the core, and it happens every month. So every month we have a full moon, every month we have a new moon. So sometimes go outside at night and see what the moon looks like. So for your activity today that you're going to do on your own, it's kind of like this. Miss Marks made a Jamboard. So you'll have your headings of daytime sky, nighttime sky, gives off its own light, moves or seems to move. So Miss Sparks made these as little Post-its for your headings. Miss Sparks also made Post-its of the words sun, clouds, stars, and moon. You'll notice when you see your Jamboard that there might be multiple or more than one of each of these words. That's because you're going to use them more than once. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to use sun under the nighttime sky, or I'm just going to use moon under the nighttime sky. No, you're going to use them multiple times, meaning many times, because the moon, remember, we see it at the nighttime sky and the daytime, and then you're also going to fill in what other ones here. So it looks like a little bit like this, but it's a Jamboard. So you're going to go onto your Jamboard, find your slide, make sure you find your slide, your number, and then you're going to move those Post-its under the correct heading. So that's what we will be doing for science. I was about to say math because we were talking about repeating patterns so much. That's why. So we are learning about the phases of the moon and what they look like and that they're repeating patterns. So can't wait to see how we sort all those different words underneath our headings.